Do Jewish people have a problem with pedophilia culturally, the way that, let's say, Catholic people have had, or Islam very much does? Are Jewish people known for molesting, grooming young girls and boys? Is that like a known thing Jewish people do?
Epstein?
Hold on. Is that a known thing that Jewish people do on a regular basis, the way it's been a problem in the Catholic Church, or the way that the main prophet of Islam has done to his things, and the way that it's still done in all Muslim countries today? Is it a problem in do you hear about Jewish people grooming young children in New York City, in Israel? Do you see that it's a problem in the Jewish world, or is it Epstein your only?
I mean, that's the only one I could really think of.
So you've been successfully propagandized, my brother. I like this. What was that? What part of the conversation did I just jump into?
No, we're talking about how it's Hebrew. It's a very unique language.
Someone was speaking it to us, and he kind of got like, "Are you putting a curse on us?" Because we don't understand.
Oh, did you think somebody was putting a Hebrew curse on you?
He just started doing it out of nowhere, and I was like, "Whoa!"
If you want to stop a Jew from putting a Hebrew curse on you, put your hand out and you say Astaghfirullah. It will stop the.
Astaghfirullah?
Yeah, it will stop the Jew immediately.
Isn't that Arabic?
It will stop the Jew immediately.
Isn't it that Arabic?
Yeah, it's Arabic for it's like an Islamic concept of like God forbid.
Gotcha. So
yeah.
would we have to speak in Arabic?
It's more efficient.
Gotcha. Are
Wait,
you
what book is that? Is that the Talmud back there?
No, it's the Torah. I do have a Talmud here though.
Gotcha.
This is an AI background, but I have the actual books in front of me.
Are you like live streaming or what are you doing?
No, I'm a YouTuber though. I am recording.
He looks fucking familiar.
My channel's popping right now. You may know me. Who knows?
Check his channel.
Check him out. Do the deep dive real quick on this Jew. What are you guys all about? What are you guys all about? I like your vibe. I have a feeling it's gonna be a little.
Wait, what's your channel called?
Tal Oran. TAL space ORAN.
He has a familiar.
Wait, space what?
ORAN or the traveling clat. Either one works.
Oh, he's popping.
Let me see.
We're popping a little bit right now.
I swear I've seen this guy doom scrolling. When I'm doom scrolling, I feel like maybe I've seen this guy.
I take that as a compliment. That's good. Doom scrolling content is not bad.
So I have a question for you.
Anything.
What do you think of Charlie Kirk and what happened?
I love Charlie Kirk. I was brought to tears that day. It was horrible.
Yeah.
Horrible.
Okay.
Yeah. How about you guys?
I think the same thing. Whether people agree with him or not, I would say I agree with most of what he said. There's
Same.
certain things like, everybody's a person, and like there's certain things we can all disagree upon.
Yeah.
But like I don't think anyone deserves what happened to him in front of his wife and in front of his children, in front of the entire nation. Like you have to understand, with social media being so prevalent, just like seeing death like that to me is disgusting.
Yeah, for me, I'm Israeli, so on October 7th, we saw our country folk slaughtered in a very horrific fashion, similar to what happened to Charlie. I would say Charlie's was just, it brought me to tears. I was like kind of in a state of shock when I saw it. But it really brought me back to that feeling of October 7th, because on October 7th, this terrorist group broke into our country and they live streamed killing our people, like civilians, people who were at a party. So when I saw that, I was like, obviously no benefit whatsoever of Charlie dying, but I thought for a second a lot of Americans could kind of resonate with what Israelis witnessed and the trauma that we experienced on October 7th, because none of you guys should have seen that. None of you. Nobody in America should have experienced that. In Israel, we see it every week. None of you guys should have seen that. But now we have a nation in America. We have a bunch of people who are traumatized from that clip. It's a horrible video.
Yeah. So another question to piggyback off of that, as somebody
Sure.
who's from a different country, and I obviously live in America, one thing that was used against Charlie Kirk, and I'm not saying I believe this, but it was used against him, is he said something along the lines that some gun deaths are unfortunate but necessary to keep our Second Amendment right here in America to protect our other God-given rights. What's your opinion on that?
I really don't know. I don't have like a proper opinion on it. I'm definitely I was raised in America, so I'm very pro Second Amendment for the most part. But I really think the bigger conversation we need to have is over mental health in America. It's just not being had. Like, for example, it's something that the right, the right in America, Charlie Kirk's side, is very toxic on that end. The right tends to make fun of mental health often, of people who are dealing with trauma, with PTSD, with anxiety disorders, with gender dysphoria, and they write it off, and they don't want to have conversations about it until gun violence happens, and then they're like, okay, let's have a conversation about mental health, but it never happens. So I think we need to have a serious fucking transformation in America when it comes to mental health. I mean, we have like a generation of kids that are growing up as furry LGBTQ men, women, anime boys and girls who don't know what the fuck they are, and then they see Charlie Kirk as an actual enemy to kill. That's insane, man. You know, I say way more blasphemous things on my YouTube channel than Charlie has ever had. I'm not a good faith debater. When I debate with people, I curse at them, I belittle them, I make fun of them. Like, I bring people to a really low point. So I think if a bullet in the neck was reserved for Charlie, what the fuck is reserved for me for just using my First Amendment? That's insane, man.
So with that said, is your mind maybe a little changed, or do you still treat people that way?
I definitely, I'm not gonna lie. It made me want to adjust the way that I debate with people a little bit, but I just have seen my tactic be so useful. It's so useful with particular people.
Would you consider that kind of in a way trolling?
I troll a little bit, but no, when I'm having a serious debate, like for example with Arabs or with Muslims, it's necessary to bring them down because they come from a point of supremacy. They come from a point of they're better than you as a person, genetically and ethnically. So it's always, especially as a Jew, they look at you as like a dog. They look at dogs and Christians and Jews. Jews, you're like at the very bottom.
I want to use that word you told me about today. Ask him that question.
Before you say that, but wouldn't you say that you guys are kind of the same way towards Muslims, especially with the excessive force that's going on in Palestine?
Absolutely not. We have 2 million Muslims who live in our country, who serve in our Knesset, who serve in our army, fight alongside us. My landlord is Arab. You don't have that in the Arab world. They ethnically cleansed all of us. The actual apartheid and genocide exists in Arab society. They just don't want you to look at it. That's the problem. We actually coexist in Israel with Arabs. We don't actually work in a supremacist framework. They actually do. So when I'm having debates with them, I always have to start from a condescending point of aggressive, cursing, knock them down a few pegs, and then come back up together in like love and harmony. And it works every single time. I don't see that happening with a leftist American. I think they're just going to get offended and run away for the most part.
Gotcha. I kind of 100% agree because they can't make valid arguments.
They can't, and then they'll end up shooting you. That's the difference. With Arabs, I know because I come from an Arabized family. My family's from Iraq. You have to come like a monkey. You have to go hooga booga, show a lot of chest, show your testosterone, like fight, and then
they respect you.
Then they respect you. You got to look at it eye level. You have to be very aggressive. With a leftist, you can't come hooga booga, they'll run. You got to come from a perspective of maybe compassion. But I don't know. I honestly, a lot of leftists just run from me. They never have conversations with me, so I don't know.
So don't let me forget to ask him what that word that we've been asking on Omni and doing that the thing, the goy or whatever. But before I get there, I want to ask you.
I like this conversation. You guys seem like nice guys.
He already knows what he's doing.
I know. But you guys seem like nice, good faith people. So I like this conversation.
Hell yeah. But before we get there, I want to ask. Because what's going on right now, and certain people believe, especially right-wing people and conservatives, they want to blame the left for what happened to Charlie Kirk and the radicalization of this guy. Unfortunately, I share the same name as him. My name is Tyler. All right. He was technically in a right-wing family, and they say that most gun deaths and the statistic shows that a lot of those deaths happen by right-wing extremists, not the left. Like you said, they run away. They're kind of cowards in a way. But like, what do you think about? Do you think it was the left and him being influenced by the left, or do you think it was the extreme right that he was like his beliefs? We don't know his beliefs. I'm just saying, what's your assumption, your opinion?
From what I remember reading, his family had a conversation with him criticizing Charlie Kirk at the dinner table. So I'm surprised to hear that they were right-wing. I thought they were more left-wing. Okay. That's what I mean. I may be wrong about that, but I remember them quoting specifically that the father who turned him in a couple weeks prior was having a conversation about how much he dislikes Charlie Kirk with him. So I'm surprised to hear it's right wing. When it comes to right wing or left wing violence,
believe it or not, though, there was a lot of far right that didn't like Charlie Kirk.
I'm sure. I mean, this is the rise of the woke right in America.
Yeah.
But the woke right and the woke left are the same exact creature.
Exactly. I believe the same thing.
And it's all of it comes down to not being able to have a conversation. It's all comes down to not being able to have a conversation. These are people who are lied and they're paid by foreign nations to undermine your belief in America. People like Candace Owens and Tucker Carlson, perfect examples of that, by the way. Perfect examples of that. These are people who they would never face me. And I have a big platform. I've called them out. They know who I am. They refuse to have a conversation with me. Because my genuine debating skills and my family history trumps all their conversations. So they're not willing to put themselves in that position. That's how you know it's a disingenuous person with a disingenuous talking point. It's probably being paid by a foreign government.
Gotcha. Do you think Charlie Kirk was bought and paid for in the same way?
I honestly don't think so.
Okay.
I really don't. I mean, he not because he was a Zionist. I mean, I appreciate his Zionistic rhetoric, but he also he seemed to be very genuine about everything he was doing. That's why I appreciate him so much, because I'm, for example, somebody who's very pro my government and very pro my country, but gets jack shit from anybody. My viewers are the only one who pay my bills. There's nobody else giving me any money. And so I saw, you can kind of, real recognizes real. Does that make sense? Like, you can kind of recognize who's speaking the truth. I don't know if you know this guy on YouTube. His name is Officer Tatum. He's like an incredible, he's a African-American from Arizona, police officer he's more conservative, been talking about American politics for like 10 years. You can tell this guy's not bought and paid for. Like, you can see he's a genuine spirit. Real recognizes real. The second you start getting bought out, you start, like Candace Owens and Tucker Carlson, same talking points. Same as Jake Shields and that retard, what's his name? Jackson Hinkle. Like, you can see they all say the same talking points. That's how you know it's being, like, either Russia or China or Qatar are paying for it.
Gotcha. One more question based on the Charlie Kirk conversation. There's another thing that people, I would say the left, or people who are not Charlie Kirk supporters, I wouldn't say that they're the same people who are celebrating his death, but they're trying to make excuses for why he deserves it or whatever. One thing that they say, and I'll go back to the Palestine issue, but let's not even talk about that.
Okay.
They'll also use, like, George Floyd, or we just had a high school shooting.
Yeah.
I think 2 days ago in Colorado.
Yeah, in Denver.
And they'll say, how come you have outrage for this white man who was this, and that, whatever they want to say, which, let's be clear, I don't believe in that. But they'll say that, and how come you have no compassion for the young kids who are dying the same way Charlie Kirk died, by gun violence?
Do the two of you not have compassion for the kids killed in the shooting?
Of course I do.
I do.
Yeah, but the argument I have with those people is, I'm like, okay, you care so much, name one person, name one kid.
I say the same thing. I say the same thing, by the way, for Palestinians. I say, give me one Gazan. Name me one Palestinian. Yeah. You guys have made Palestine your whole identity. And I do this to Muslims all over the world. I've asked thousands. I only had one Muslim ever give me a response. And you know what he said? He said Muhammad. I was like, can you give me a last name? He said, no. I just know at least one Muhammad has died. I was like, that's the biggest bullshit I've ever heard in my life.
Yeah, and I'm going to agree with you. And I think that Charlie had an influence. He had an audience, just like you do. And that's why people are mourning his death, because we know him.
Yeah.
I still feel bad for the kid who died, or I don't even know how many people. That's just how crazy it is.
I think it was 2 who died in Denver. I think it was 2.
Yeah. Do you think that Israel is using excessive force?
No.
Think they're going too far? Like,
absolutely not.
At what point should they stop all of what they're doing?
When we retrieve our 50 hostages that are still being held. That's when you stop. If you guys, I'm assuming you're not Middle Eastern. You guys look maybe Latino. I'm not sure what your ethnic background is, but
yeah,
I'm half white, half
black, half white.
Half black. You're half black, half white, and you're half Hispanic, half white.
Yes.
Cool, fantastic mix. So in the Middle East, like I said earlier, we talk with chest beating and excessive force. There's no idea of human rights don't exist, war crimes don't exist, Geneva Convention doesn't, borders don't exist. It's cave people here. It's hooga booga. And it's not that we're not capable of better, we're capable of better. But all the Arabs in the surrounding area, they choose every day, they wake up and they decide we want to live like cave people in prehistory. That's what they decide. They actively wake up and they decide they want to live this way. And so you reap what you sow. I mean, at a certain point, everybody has to be held responsible for their actions. Few elements are... Yeah.
Go ahead and finish.
No, please. I'll tend to ramble. You ask whatever you want.
As a person with morality
Mm-hmm.
and just a normal dude who, like, I can get into the political of what I believe, and I could be wrong, right?
Mm-hmm.
One thing that does bother me, though, about the Palestinian and Israel thing is just the death.
Mm-hmm.
And obviously, I believe all death is wrong.
Yep.
I believe Israelis dying is wrong. I believe Palestinians dying is wrong. But when I see, like, children and, like, can't name a single one, so I guess that shows how much I care little or decide to educate myself on it. But still, as a human being, there's a lot more of them dying. That's where I'm like, is there a disparity, and why?
The question that you have to ask yourself, I always have this conversation with sweet American people like you. You obviously care about the idea of innocent people dying because you're an American, and that means you stand for the values of freedom and liberty and justice, and you don't like the idea of innocent people dying. But the question is, how much do you care? And if you don't care enough, for example, to remember a name, if I were to show you a map of Israel and you couldn't point to Gaza on it, which I'm assuming you can't, and I'm not shaming you for it, I'm just assuming you can't.
Yeah.
If you couldn't point where Mawasi refugee camp is, Gaza City camp, Rafah, the best course of option is to just why? Because not 1,000 kilometers away, just on the borders of Palestine, or on the borders of Gaza, in Egypt, Jordan, Syria, Lebanon, Yemen, Sudan, Somalia, Ethiopia, the Congo, just in the surrounding area, millions, not hundreds of thousands, not tens of thousands, millions of Muslim Arabs, same ethnicity as the Palestinians, will die today. Not millions today, but thousands will die today of hunger, of bombs, of killing, of genocide, and all of us collectively will say nothing. So to me, as an Israeli Jew, I'm looking for moral equivalence. If you can't rationalize to me why the fuck you give a shit about a Palestinian kid dying in Gaza more than 15 Sudanese kids that will die today, whether we like it or not, they're going to die today, and there's not going to be a single emoji, Instagram post, TikTok video posted about them. You have to rationalize to me why you care about the Palestinians more. That's always and it's not to do a whataboutism, but I genuinely have to ask, why do you care about the Palestinians more?
And I would say the same thing too, even if I were to believe that, like, Israelis' deaths, and I believe, like I said, all death is, like, bad and war is bad and all that. I still can't even name a single Israeli or one of your people who have died either.
Yeah.
So the same can be said for that too, but, like, I think people are lost in their emotions.
I think one reason why Americans are so vocal on the whole Israel-Palestine is because we're funding it.
You're not. You're not funding it. You're absolutely not funding it. And the thing is, do you think that there's a chance, and you guys are two very bright young men, but do you think there's a chance that you guys have been successfully propagandized? Do you think there's maybe even a sliver of a chance?
100%.
So I'm here to break it to you that you not just a slight chance, like you 100% you have, just the idea of that you've been funding it. Let me just talk to you about the funding real quick in Israel. You guys give Israel something in the range of $2 billion a year, not in financial aid, in weapons contracts that Israel must and has to basically only do business with Big Sam, with Uncle Sam. We have to buy weapons from America, from a bunch of industries in Oklahoma and Kentucky and the Midwest who create weapons and bombs and drones, and we buy all our... You guys make a fuck ton of money off of us. You guys give us weapons contracts at a discount, and then we stimulate the shit out of your economy. You guys don't just give us free money. There's no free money involved here. And then all the money that we spend on you guys, on your weapons, we actually use them in war and give you feedback on how your weapons are operating, system control, the Iron Dome, which you guys helped us develop. It's not this relationship of we're just taking your money. And by all means, by the way, I think the weapons contracts thing should be done a long time ago. I believe Israel should be diversifying its weapons portfolio from India, from China, from Russia, but you guys don't like it when we do that. If we go and buy weapons from Russia or from India, from this, you guys start criticizing us and you tell us, what the fuck? Don't buy weapons from them, only buy from us. And we buy it from you, and then you guys are like, why the fuck are you why are we giving you money?
Yeah, because then we wouldn't profit.
You guys make a shit ton of money off of us.
This is the best conversation we've had.
Really is.
So, but just know, you guys are not funding this war. We're perfectly capable of fighting this war without America. You guys are insanely helping us, and we appreciate it. That's why America is very much loved in Israel. We're very appreciative of America.
Yeah. Well, America considers itself your ally.
We're not just allies. We're family, man. We have the same values. Americans are so welcome in Israel, and vice versa. I feel as an Israeli, we're very welcome in America, and I like that. You know, like our nations have a lot of shared history, a lot of shared ideology. I mean, Judeo-Christian values, they come from Israel. The source of American democracy comes from the Hebrew Bible.
But even that right there, there's some people that think Judeo-Christian is like not even a term. You should like people don't even want to use that term.
People who have been propagandized, but you're Christian. I mean, you guys are Christian.
Yeah.
God bless.
Baptized.
But that's, you know, that whole thing comes from Israel. The whole book, start to end, comes from Israel. The entire thing. Little parts of it are in Iraq, and some of it in Egypt, but the entire book is in Israel.
We're not goyim to you. We're not.
Of course
Gentiles.
you're goyim, but what does goyim mean?
Non-Jew.
It just means the word nation. Goy, the Hebrew word goy means nation. Goyim means other nations. That's
doesn't
it.
mean we're like lesser than, right? Like,
That's
as a
it.
people, as a
That's
race.
literally, there's a word and there's a definition. Now, there's context. There are some Jewish supremacists that have existed through history who have used the word goyim to elevate themselves and to bring themselves down. I disagree with that. In our Bible, nowhere does it say that we're better than anybody else.
But the Talmud.
The Talmud, do you know what the Talmud is?
I do not, but I've read some script, some.
Out of context.
I mean, I read it, dude, and.
Out of context, though. And you've been propagandized, as we've established earlier. The
But that's like.
the
That's your
Talmud.
rebuttal, is that it's misconstrued.
Of course, the Talmud is a book of debates. Judaism, the way that, okay, this is something that's probably really important to understand. Christianity and Islam are religions, okay? Concrete religions built to control populations. And whether or not you connect with them, this is just the truth, the reality behind Christianity and Judaism and Islam. They were built to control populations, control wealth, and put a certain doctrine onto people. Okay, Christianity is Judaism. All the early adopters of Christianity were Jewish, including the main Messiah of Christianity. He was a Jew born and raised in Israel, in Judea. Jesus, peace be upon him, as the Muslims say. The Talmud was a book that Jesus would have read and would have studied, both the Babylonian and the Jerusalem Talmud. The Talmud, because Judaism is not a religion, it is an ethno-religion, we have certain religious beliefs that are tied to our land. All that the Talmud is a book of debates, because in Judaism we believe in the idea of arguments. There's no right or wrong way to be a Jew. We don't believe in that idea. You can't do this and then you go to the hellfire. You can't do this and then you die. There's always an opportunity for repentance. There's always an opportunity to have a higher relationship with God. So the Talmud is literally volumes upon volumes of debates on the most minuscule of topics. Yes, some of it has debates about rape. Some of it have debates about pedophilia. Some have conversations about how to kill an ant. I'm not joking. When I was younger, I studied on how to kill an ant through the Talmud. It's insane. The level of detail. Should you kill it by this or like this with your hand? Or should you kill it at all? Can you do it on a holiday? It gets into the most minuscule details. And I think in some elements, the Talmud is not very good because we shouldn't be so hyper-focused on things.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
I have one question based on like the religious aspect of things.
Sure.
When
Was
it
that a
comes
good
to
explanation for you, by the way? Does that add some more context?
I think he wants to ask more questions. I'll let
Okay.
him go.
I just want to read this to you, and I want you to
Sure.
tell me how it's, whatever. A Jew may have sex with a child as long as the child is less than 9 years old.
Okay, out of
How is that-
out of context, you can't
How is that out of context, though?
because
Explain
because
how.
if it's a book of debates where people are arguing and having conversations back and forth, how do I know that that was not a question posed or a statement posed at the end of a question that then has a follow through? Hold on, let me show you what the Talmud looks like because I have one right here.
Okay.
I want you to visually see it. Look how fucking giant this thing is. There's
Jeez.
like hundreds of volumes of this. Hundreds. I don't even understand most of what's in here. Look at this.
Yeah.
Damn.
Wow.
Every single letter or every single thing has a subcontext showing you a person that may have asked it And some of them are random rabbis. Some of them are rabbis that were very bad people. Some of it were very good people. So this question that everybody likes to quote out of context about the pedophilia and the sexual assault and all this stuff, we don't know. I mean, you have to go in and read the exact part and see what the answer is, but none of it is definitive by law. And a question for you, and this is not to criticize Islam or Christianity, but sorry, do Jewish people have a problem with pedophilia culturally the way that, let's say, Catholic people have had, or Islam very much does? Are Jewish people known for molesting, grooming young girls and boys? Is that like a known thing Jewish people do?
Epstein?
Hold on. Is that a known thing that Jewish people do on a regular basis, the way it's been a problem in the Catholic Church, or the way that the main prophet of Islam has done to his things, and the way that it's still done in all Muslim countries today? Is it a problem in do you hear about Jewish people grooming young children in New York City, in Israel? Do you see that it's a problem in the Jewish world? Or is it Epstein your only...
I mean, that's the only one I could really think of.
So you've been successfully propagandized, my brother.
But how... So what, he wasn't doing that?
Sorry?
He wasn't doing that?
I'm saying, is there a cultural issue with Jewish people as a whole? You have to make a generalization here. Yeah. Do they have an issue with pedophilia and sexual assault and child grooming? Is that like a common thing that's happening in the Jewish world?
No, or has I don't think it's a common...
Or has it been a common tenet in Catholicism and in Islam, and it's continuing till this day? So I would say, as somebody who is actually concerned about pedophilia, I'm asking you now as a Christian, are you asking the same questions to Catholic pastors? Are you doing the same thing to Islamic imams? I would say you're probably not.
I'm not. Yeah.
I would say, have you memorized or have it saved on your phone any questionable hadiths from the Quran or surahs from the Quran talking about child marriage? Probably not.
Did mention that to you.
Yeah, he did mention that. Yeah.
So what I'm saying is, I have no problem with you asking questions. I hope that I'm giving you good responses. I'm not trying to attack you either. Like,
love this.
I want to be an ambassador of my people. I think our people are incredible. I really love being a Jew. I think we're very misunderstood. I think more Jews like me also need to represent our religion and our people, which isn't happening. That's a problem within Judaism. But I would say, if, brother, you really care about these issues in the world, can you go real quick to Pakistan first? Because Pakistan has a massive issue with sexual assault of underage women. Every woman friend of mine that's ever been to South Asia has been sexually assaulted. Every single one. It's not such a common issue in Israel or in Jewish circles. I'm not saying it doesn't happen, but it's not common the same way that it is in Catholicism or Islam.
So is Epstein in it? Like, is that an anomaly? Like, is that abnormal?
I don't know that Epstein is an anomaly. I don't know much about Epstein, but what I've sort of tried to deduce is I think that there's a really toxic circle of very successful, wealthy Jews that have existed in places like Hollywood, the American medical sphere. Some people who exist at high levels, who come from a specific demographic of Judaism, which is westernized Judaism, who are just shitty people. But brother, you have Irish people like that. You have Russian people like that. I mean, you have Arabs like that. I mean, a lot of Arabs are like that. I'm just saying, if you're going to start pointing out that there's something going on with Judaism, can you please be equal about who you're pointing out?
Yeah, you're right. You're right.
That's all I'm saying.
No, this has been very informative, dude. It really has been.
I appreciate you guys being so receptive. It's awesome. You guys seem like very cool dudes.
Do you want to continue asking? Because I kind of have more agreements than disagreements. Do you want to keep going?
No, I think I'm good.
Wow. Wow.
This is gonna be posted on YouTube, dog.
I'm cool with it.
You guys did a great job. I think a lot of people have a lot of respect for you too. You guys asked very respectfully.
So when it comes to what I was going to ask is about Jesus Christ. We were talking about faith
Sure.
before I let him go on his thing. Who is Jesus Christ in your faith? And this could be where I'm naive to this.
Mm-hmm.
I don't really know much about your faith or about the religious aspect. I kind of live in America, so obviously propagandized, one thing I've heard and one thing, a parallel I draw between Muslims. Have you ever heard of the guy called the Warner?
No.
Okay. He's like this Muslim guy who like sits on a pier and he like talks to people and tries to convert people to Islam. I've listened to him. Not that I agree with him, but sometimes I do like some points that he makes,
Okay.
even though I don't believe in the religion. But one thing I draw a parallel between Muslims and Jews, and you can tell me if I'm wrong. I'd love to like hear if I am or not, because I don't know everything. Is that the Muslims say that Jesus is just a prophet, and that you guys kind of believe the same thing, and that Jesus isn't really, that he doesn't have as much relevance as a Christian would have for him.
Yeah. No, so Muslims take him as a prophet. We don't take him as anything. He's not a part of our religious doctrine at all. Like, our book ends at the Old Testament. Before Jesus is born, before his story starts, any sort of prophesizing about Jesus that a lot of Christians will use, that it's like, hey, this says in the Old Testament that he's coming. It never says Yoshua by name. Yoshua is Jesus' name in Hebrew. So we don't take him as anything. Like, at all, we just don't have any belief about him. We don't have any conversations about him. Our only context with Jesus or with Christianity exists in, I would say, a very fragmentary way of persecution Christians against us over time. So a lot of Jews, I'm not going to lie to you, have either negative or neutral thoughts about Christianity or Jesus because they were sort of raised in that way. And it's a lot of times it's more neutral than it is negative. I would say that ultra-Orthodox Jewish groups a lot of times will have thoughts that maybe steer a little bit more negative. But I've asked this question a lot to a bunch of rabbis because I was curious myself. Some rabbis say we don't have any belief about him at all. Some rabbis see he was a big mystic. He was a big rabbi who just revolted. Some rabbis believe he was a demon. He was a very bad person. Some, there's a diversity in opinion.
Like, I've heard that some Jews believe, he's going to hell,
So that's also like kind of an oxymoron because Jews, we don't have the concept of hell. So whoever told you that, that's just not even a true thing. Jews don't believe in hell. We don't have this idea of heaven and hell in Judaism. Yeah.
Go ahead. I don't want to cut you off.
Any real Jew who tells you we have this strict idea of heaven and hell the way Christians have is either a really confused Jew or is telling you something in bad faith, because we genuinely don't have the concept of Satan the way that you guys have, like the devil, Lucifer. Does not exist for us. No heaven like you ascend to a heaven, and no hell like you go to a pit of high fiery hell. We don't have those concepts.
Gotcha. And that's a concept because I grew up in, I don't know if you have any knowledge about this religion, but it's called Jehovah's Witnesses.
Of course. We have them in Israel, by the way. We have a center in Tel Aviv.
Gotcha. So my question is, what you are saying is kind of what I grew up believing. Not that I believe it, but what I was taught was that there is no heaven and hell. Like, obviously there's a spiritual realm, but that's not where we go. That God created the earth for us to inhabit. Why would he want us, our spiritual bodies, to go to heaven where he created this earth for us? So that's where I do you have any knowledge about Jehovah's Witnesses?
A little bit. I've always sort of steered clear away from. I'm not a big fan of proselytizing. So anybody who stands trying to convert me to the religion, and I see JW a lot on the streets. Even they do it here in Israel with the pamphlets. I'm just like, if you have to try to convert me to your religion, and I'm not looking down upon you, I just personally feel a disdain. I don't feel connected to it.
Yeah, and I feel the same way about people who try and convert me as well.
Yeah. I don't like it. That's why, like, when Christians try to convert me or when Muslims try to convert me, I'm always like, the furthest I ever feel it from your religion or from your prophets is when you try to force it on me. You know, the closest I ever felt to Jesus was, and I do, by the way, I'm a Jew who has a very deep connection with Christianity and with Jesus. While I'm not a Christian, I'm a proud Jew. I don't believe in Jesus at all as a God or anything like this. I have a deep appreciation for him. I felt the closest to him about a year ago during the war. I took 3 donkeys and another friend. I'm not even joking. I walked from Nazareth, the Sea of Galilee, where he walked on water, over the course of 5 days through the nature in the middle of the war with donkeys. I walked in his footsteps. I made an incredible documentary about it on my YouTube channel. And it was so awesome. I got to walk in his literal footsteps. I felt so connected to him, not as God, but as a fellow Jew. Because he was a Jew from Judea. So I felt so connected to the guy. I was like, I'm sorry if I said guy. I know he's God for you guys, but I don't see him as God. So like as a fellow Jew, I felt really connected. I was like, I'm walking in the path of another Jew.
that's kind of where I was going with this, because
Yep.
the Jehovah's Witnesses are one of the Christian. They fall within the line of Christianity. I'm not saying I'm one.
Mm-hmm.
I'm kind of figuring out what I believe. I am very attracted to Jesus' story and the way he lived, and the fact that he came and died on a cross for everybody. I'm attracted to that. But what Jehovah's Witnesses believe is that, kind of like the Muslims and kind of like you guys, in a similar kind of way, they deny the deity of Christ. They believe that he was, I believe, Angel Michael, who came down, and he's like the son of God, but he is separate from God, that he is not equal to God. Whereas the Christians believe that they're kind of one and the same.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, we in Judaism, we really don't even process it in that way. He's not a topic of conversation at all in Judaism. Like, it's very rare that people have debates about him in Judaism, because we just choose, like, the same way we don't talk about the Prophet Muhammad at all. We just don't talk about Jesus. Our story ends before there. For me personally, I think he existed. I really do think he existed. I've been to Capernaum, where he preached the gospel in the beginning, and I walked through his early synagogue where he prayed as a Jew, and I thought it was fucking amazing. I thought it was it's one of the most beautiful places in Israel. I felt very connected to him there. I know he existed. I know he had a deep impact on people. I really agree with certain elements of his messaging, by the way, as a Jew. Like, I agree with this idea of revolting against the establishment. That's the fire that burns inside of me. I do it even today. I kind of like go head to head with my own Jewish hierarchy, and people get angry for it.
Do you know why he revolted? Do you have a reason for why he did?
I think a lot of it was he saw deep corruption in the Pharisees and in the Sanhedrin, which throughout certain periods of time in First Temple and Second Temple Judaism, we know it has existed. We also, just like every group of people, we have had many corrupt individuals. Like, we've had corrupt kings, and we've had corrupt leaders and corrupt rabbis. We have them still today. Even today, you would say the politicians in Israel are super fucking corrupt. Our government is super corrupt. And even today, the rabbinical courts can be very corrupt in Israel. And sometimes they're very good. I'm not saying it's all negative. But I think the way about going about it, about like just undermining everything, that's maybe the part that I don't agree with, and saying the belief in me as God will give you salvation, and my sacrifice will give you salvation. I just don't connect with it, because I see God as a very specific thing. You'll never be able to make me believe that Jesus was God. It's just not going to happen. Like, I just can't feel that connection. But do I feel a connection, like a deep, deep, deep connection with him as a fellow Jew? Absolutely. Like, I can't even explain how much I do. And I see the love, and I see the love for Israel, the passion and the love for Israel that he's awakened in so many people. And I think it's the most incredible thing in the world. I've met Christians from all over the world who have this like deep rooted connection to my country, to the land that I'm from, and they can't even explain it why. And it's all because of this one person. And I'm like, that is the most fucking amazing thing in the world to me.
Because their Lord and Savior is a Jew.
I know, and it's so incredible. And I'm like, that makes me appreciate him and have so much love for him as a Jew. And I don't have to see him as God for that, you know?
So are you guys, as your faith, still waiting on the Messiah to come if Jesus was not the Messiah?
Yeah, I would say there's a lot of new age interpretations of what the Messiah even means. Some people see it as a biblical figure, like somebody who's coming back. Some people see it as somebody who's coming anew from the lineage of King David. And some people say that Messiah can be a generation, and maybe is our generation that is going to be the Mashiach. I gotta be honest with you, I don't have the answers to everything. I don't even know. Like, I meditate on these things sometimes. I really don't have a clear-cut answer of what Mashiach even means to me. I just know that I really believe in the concepts of Tikkun Olam and being a light to the nations. We say in Hebrew, you guys are going to like this term, Or LaGoyim, light to the goys, right? Not a light because we're worse than you, but Or to the Goyim literally means a light upon the nations. The idea of being a Jew or an Israelite is the idea of trying to be a beacon of light for the whole world. All I want to do and all the values I grew up with is trying to be a better person for the whole world to enjoy, not just for me, for everyone around me.
What was that word that I just learned? The Ashwa. I want to ask him.
Ashkenazi.
Ashkenazi. What's it?
Ashkenazi.
I barely learned about that today. What's the difference between an ashwagandha?
Ashwagandha?
No. I had no idea that this was. I never heard this word in my life. So we were talking about it tonight. I'm curious as to what your thoughts are on it.
Yeah, it's a good question. So we have 3 different classifications of Jews, really. Actually, a couple more than that. There's Ashkenazi, Mizrahi, Sephardi. Then there's like Ethiopians, and then the Eastern Jews who are like Chinese Kaifeng Jews or Indian Jews. And all this means is just where you spent your diaspora experience in. So Jews all come from one place in the Levant called Israel, the ancient land of Canaan. Some lived in Syria, some lived in Lebanon, some lived in Iraq. That's where my family's from. They're from Iraq, Turkey, and Iran. And it just depends on where. These are like man-made ideas. Somebody who spent their diaspora experience, before the creation of the State of Israel in Poland, Russia, Ukraine, Austria, Germany, those are considered Ashkenazi Jews. The ones who spent their time in the Iberian Peninsula, Spain and Portugal, those are Sephardi Jews. The word Sfarad, Spain in Hebrew. Ones who spent their time in the Middle East, like my entire family, Iran, Iraq, Morocco, were called Mizrahi. Mizrahi means east in Hebrew. Eastern Jews.
Just as somebody who has no idea what you're even talking about, what's the difference between them? Just nationality, like where they're from, the region?
It's not even. It's literally just where you spent your diasporic experience, where you spent your time outside of Israel. It's not even ethnicity or DNA, because DNA-wise, if you DNA test me, who my whole family spent their whole time in the Middle East, and I look super brown and Middle Eastern, and you DNA test a white-looking Jew with blue eyes and blonde hair, we come back with the same DNA. It's insane. Like, we'll look completely different, but we come back with the same exact DNA.
What would the title be for that?
What do you mean?
Like, when you get your DNA test done, what would the title be?
The actual strain, it goes by this thing called a haplogroup, is a Levantine strain of DNA. The Levant is the countries that are Syria, Lebanon, Israel, Palestine, Egypt. All those countries together, they make up a region called the Levant. And there's one strain of DNA that's sort of shared amongst a lot of these people. Like, for all the talk that Palestinians are Arabs and Syrians are Arabs, by the way, just so you guys know, if you learn something extra, it's the biggest load of bullshit you've ever heard in your life. Most of the people in the Middle East are not actually Arabs. They were colonized by the Arabs, and they're forced to be Arabs. But most of them, a lot of them are probably Jews, by the way. Many of them probably have Jewish DNA.
Yeah, this is crazy. I love this.
Yeah. So, question everything. That's what I always say. Question everything.
That's why I ask questions. Is like, I don't know. You said something like that I feel strongly with is like, you said you don't know everything. And I feel like anyone who says that they do, I am very privy to not believe what they say, because I feel like anyone who feels like they know it all doesn't.
I always will tell people, after you have a conversation with me, try to find a Palestinian to have a conversation with you. I challenge you to, especially on this app, and see if they can rationalize their positions as well as me. I'm not saying that I'm better than them. I'm just saying my narrative is really well constructed because I studied it. I'm very educated on the topic. I've spent a lot of time because I really care about it. And the conclusion that I came to, I've literally walked Israel by foot, and I've sat with every single ethnic group you can imagine in this country. And the conclusion I came to was, if you have an answer to the conflict and you feel like you're already wrong. Because I've done the work, and I still don't have an answer for you because it's so confusing.
Quick question. Why, or I don't know even know if this is completely true. Is it forbidden to do DNA tests in Israel?
No, absolutely not. Look, I'm in Israel right now. I'm in Tel Aviv. Yeah. Here's my Ancestry.com kit. Here's my 23andMe kit. I have 2 that I'm going to do for my family members.
Propaganda.
100%. You could pay an Israeli company. It's a little bit more expensive. The only reason they say that is because companies like Ancestry.com and 23andMe, there's loopholes to getting them in here the way that I did. It's a little bit of work because they share your data with anybody. They'll just sell your fucking data because America has no rules with that shit. So Israel protects their consumers a bit. So you have to pay a little extra for a government done DNA test, which is $200. But anyone can do it. Doesn't matter who you are. Everyone can do that DNA test. And I've done 23andMe's and Ancestry.com DNA tests from Israel for myself and my family members from this country. So it's also a lie. And I'm living proof. I'm in Tel Aviv right now. I'm showing you the tests are here.
Yeah, damn.
Yeah.
Damn, okay. You had it ready too.
Bro.
Yeah, right next to it, bro.
All day, every day, bro. I did my homework. All right, boys. Well, listen, it was very, very nice to meet you guys. I hope you guys learned a little something. I think people on YouTube are going to fucking love you guys. You're awesome. And
Very informative. Thank you so much.
yeah, very nice to meet you guys. I appreciate you.
What's your name again?
Tall.
Tall.
Tall like tall.
Okay, nice.
Nice to meet you guys.
man.
See you around. God bless. Bye-bye. What a lovely bunch of American dudes. That's the kind of America I love, ladies and gentlemen. God bless them. God bless those boys.
If you believe in my content and want to support me, just know your help is needed. There's a bunch of great ways to support me, being PayPal, Buy Me a Coffee, or joining my Patreon community down below. Patreon is the best way to support my channel, and you'll get a bunch of cool perks depending on what tier you join. Another great way to support me is by buying my merchandise on thetravelingclat.com. I regularly drop new merch designs like this beautiful hat, or this amazing shirt, where you can support the channel and get something cool for yourself. I also have an amazing Discord community with people from all over the world. Thank you so much for your support.